I, Esdras, saw upon the Mount Zion a great people, whom I could not number, and they all praised the Lord with songs. And in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than all the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. So I asked the angel, and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh. Now are they crowned, and receive palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the Son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the world. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things, and how great wonders of the Lord thy God thou hast seen.
Eternal life. That's what's promised to the elect. All right, all Israel, but it starts with the elect. And that's how the earth will be governed by immortals, perfect angelic forces who are going to come down and rule on earth. Extraterrestrial bodies will be able to do things that humans do, but in heavenly bodies, like eating, drinking. Did not Yahushua say he's going to drink wine with us in the kingdom? Well, how do you drink wine with a spiritual body? Well, we're going to have out of this world capabilities in those new bodies.
I have said, Ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High.
So we're going to have that ultimate power. That's right. We're going to have that power. We're going to have that scepter. And with that scepter, we're going to do a lot of bashing. Right? We're going to do a lot of skull breaking. We're going to do a lot of skull breaking. All right? We're going to do a lot of skull breaking. We're going to enjoy ourselves putting foot in your ass. See, that's what that entails. It ain't just sitting on the 12 thrones. Okay? It's not just sitting on the throne. That's the ultimate. But there's a lot of perks that comes in. Perks. Beyond perks. Beyond perks. Right?
According to Holy Scriptures, the Son of is set according to the nation of Israel, establishing a tabernacle of Christ, and establish a righteous kingdom, which is synonymous with the throne of David. That's scriptural, which is a government that's going to run this world in righteousness.
But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever.
So we're going to have that ultimate power. That's right. We're going to have that power. We're going to have that scepter. And with that scepter, we're going to do a lot of bashing. Right? We're going to do a lot of skull breaking.
A transfer of rulership is coming, and the kingdom of heaven will be on earth. Righteousness will be spread throughout the whole four corners of the earth. Wickedness will be put down.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. And Apostle and Elder GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole flick out there, pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashim Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful the believers, the listeners who may have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shah. All right. And what I want to get into today is dealing with the wound of an enemy. You know, I found the video by this guy, Shahid Boslin. All right. This intellectual, Muslim. And, he goes in on breaking down, all right, and analyzing, American culture, the culture of the West, but particularly in America, and what it does to the people. He grew up in America and, he grew up poor and he was able to move out east, live in different areas in what they call the Middle East, Syria, Jordan. And he's seen things from a different perspective and he's seen how the world views America. Okay. And he goes in, he goes in. So we're going to go into the video, but I'm saying he makes some points. Like I said, we all know, all right, that Islam, all right, is garbage, all right, false religion, full of madness. If you get higher up into it, okay, it's satanic, okay, it's Satanism, when you get into the upper ranks of Islam, okay. But at the end of the day, all right, you do have, in the East, okay, a more conventional way of life. You do have a more traditional, orthodox, okay, standard, living, and then they're not as tainted as over here in the West, especially here in America, which is the worst of the worst. Now, I want to lay down a foundation with a few scriptures, and then we'll go into the video. Because mainly I want to let it play for the most part. But let's get into some scriptures and some definitions, and then we'll go from there. Now let's start here with Jeremiah 17:4. All right, because we know we go into these topics, often, speak about, how far we feel, the condition that we're in. Okay, dealing with the culture, what our people call a culture. All right, and you go to Jeremiah 17:4. All right, it says, "And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee." So this is the Lord speaking even to Jeremiah, even letting him know that it's going to come a time where even you are going to fall away. All right. "And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger which shall burn forever." So we discontinue from our heritage, beginning with our land. And we discontinue from our culture, all right, which our culture was given to us from Yahweh Bashim Shah when you go into the law, statutes, and commandments, okay, which those laws, statutes, and commandments was meant for us to govern ourselves in righteousness, all right, and ultimately keep us in good standings with our power, all right, which will put us in power over these nations to be an example of righteousness for them, okay, but we fell away from that. All right, we disobeyed, and the Lord caused us to discontinue completely, okay, from that lot of being that nation above all other nations in righteousness, man. Okay, and we fell away, we discontinued. All right, and one thing about it is we discontinued from our heritage. All right, it was replaced with something else. Okay, just to bring it up to modern times, what was it replaced with, man? Okay, American culture, nigger culture, black culture, street culture. Okay, so we fell away, we discontinued from our true heritage, and we picked up, okay, these other heritages, because as it says, we serve thine enemies, okay, which is Esau, Edom. And well, this devil played a major part in fabricating a culture for our people. And these things are written about. You see, Jake is in these questions, asking why this and why that. Well, the Bible explains every why question that you can have. There are of any seriousness, man, dealing with our people. Okay, because it said we will serve our enemies, and when you go into the the curses, okay, it goes into the details of the conditions and circumstances that we will be in. Okay, as we will be under our enemies, man. Discontinue from our heritage, man. Okay, so you go to Deuteronomy 28:15, said, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Okay? So our disobedience led to us being in the condition that we're in. Okay? And you go here to 28 and 29. It says, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shah shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, man. Okay? So you look at our people today, you know, this is a true mental illness that we see our people are suffering from, man. You know, the way they have this self-hatred towards each other. Okay, whether it's self-hatred toward themselves, this hatred towards each other. Okay, this blindness of what's going on around them. Okay, the things that they, you know, they fallen in love with a culture of death. Okay, and from the outside looking in, you know, as you look at our people, it's an astonishment how our people operate and how they think. And you go into this word astonishment. Okay, in the Hebrew, which is Dama Hawana. All right, Dama Hawana. In the Hebrew, all right, and it goes to astonishment, bewilderment, and stupefaction. Now, I want to get this word stupefaction and go into a few synonyms. Okay, and I say, you got Shahid, you know, he's gonna go into the analytical side of it. But you go into the word stupefaction, okay, and you go into the synonyms, it says oblivion. Now you get the oblivion, okay. It says a state of being unaware or unconscious of what is happening, man. And our people are completely unaware of the circumstances they're in, what's going on around them, who their true enemy is, all right, what's really happening in the earth. They're just in a state of complete oblivion. Okay, and this comes from decades and decades, you know, where really you know, chattel slavery, you know, then after chattel slavery, you know, decades and decades of enchantments, okay, distractions, okay, and our people are in a complete state of oblivion, you know, unaware, unconsciousness, man. Okay, you get these other words. It says unconsciousness, senselessness, numbness, blankness, okay, or stupor. Okay, you just listen to the daily, you know, I think Nelly Fuller, he died not too long ago, but he used to go in on Jake. Okay, and he used to say things like, Jake, you know, if they don't have any positive, if they're not coming together for anything positive, Jake shouldn't even talk to each other. You know, he say black people. He say niggas shouldn't gather together unless they have some type of constructive, all right, projects going on. All right. But you go into our people, man, it's just a blankness, you know, empty talk. You know, they have a culture that's based in nothing, shoes, purses, you know, a car. Okay. No building, no one of our people even talk about the next generation except dressing them up in outfits. Okay. To make them look like a rapper, you know, some type of celebrity. Okay. Confusion. You see? You know, coma, all right? And you look at our people and the mindset they have towards reality is like they're in a complete coma. Okay? Now let's go back to Deuteronomy, get a couple more precepts, and then we'll get into the video and let it play. But so you go to Deuteronomy 29 and 29, and it says, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled forevermore, and no man shall save thee. Okay, so you look at the condition of our people, and you look, you know, our people have been trying to find themselves, you know, always, you know, first, you know, Jake is black, then he's African American, then he's, you know, Jake's been Negroes. Okay, colored people. Okay, Jake was on the African tip, the Egyptian tip, Islam, the Black Panther. That's Jake groping in darkness, man, not knowing who they are, who their power is. not understanding the scriptures and how we got to this point. Okay, and now people have just been groping in darkness, man. Plantation Christianity, okay, all these different movements and things that our people have latched on to. Okay, these cultures that our people have latched on to. There's Jake groping in darkness, man, and nothing has prospered. Okay, nothing that our people have done in this captivity has prospered. Okay, they've only been oppressed and spoiled evermore. Okay, and Jake has access to more convenience, and more perks of this society, but they spiritually, all right, our people spiritually keep going backwards. Morally they've gone completely backwards. You see, and the Wadi Bashim al Shah for taking us out of darkness and bringing us, into this marvelous light, because it's only through Yahweh Shah that we can be healed from this, man. From this wound. Okay, when you go here to Jeremiah 30, and we'll come back to it. All right, to Jeremiah 30 and 12. It said, "For thus said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim al Shah, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous," man. Okay, and this is why the Lord eventually has to just destroy America and remove Esau from power, because 2/3 will only get worse, because they have that incurable bruise. Okay, the elect, all right, as we suffer the same things as our people. We come from all walks of life, all different circumstances, and we grew up in the curses, and we still under the curses. Not so much, as Jake. They just wallow in the curses, but we still, are under the same elements, all right, that our people are under. But we begin to be healed. We have to understand that we've begun the healing process, man, and it's continual. That's why it's always a thing of self-examination and being aware and knowing when to make adjustments, what adjustments to make, and there's always a possibility in a situation that we could be tripping, that we could be off, man, because we come from this same wound, all right, this grievous wound of our people. But Yahweh Shai is working a miracle, man, amongst the elect, and we're beginning to be healed, and it comes through correction, repetition, rehearsing of righteous acts, okay, growing in understanding, separating from things, cutting things off when need be, in order to heal, because in the healing process, there's a thing you have to cut things off in order to properly heal. You have to do things different. You have to think different. You have to react different, to really heal from this grievous wound. Okay, have a different mindset. All right, that's spiritual. That's just me, though. That's all spirit, because that's just me suffering from a grievous wound. Okay, and that old man, everything that the old man was on, that nigga was off in everything. Because of the way we was brought up, man. Especially this era. Okay, now I want to go to it. I'm gonna let him go, because he just gonna bring it out. He's gonna bring out some numbers and statistics and things, and we'll chime in as needed. So let's go segue over here. All right.
Okay, let's do an evaluation of reality just for a second. Let's look at the situation in America objectively. Maybe some of the elements.
Fair use. All right, this video is not being monetized. I'm not making any profit, any monetary gain, just for educational purpose only. Fair use.
That are usually overlooked in America, or that are only overlooked in isolation. But let's look at it as a whole. Let's look at it as an organic whole. First of all, roughly half of all of the current working age population in America today, the adult population, between 40 to 50% of the adults who are in America today, who are, in the leading positions in America, whether it's in business or in government or what have you, about half of the adult population in America grew up with divorced parents, means single mothers mostly. Okay, well, we're all aware of the emotional and the developmental issues that can affect kids when they're growing up in broken homes, homes without fathers, and so on. There is trauma from that, no doubt. No matter how great that mother is, no matter how great that father may be, a child without two parents who are actively involved in bringing that child up, that child has a much harder time than a child who has both parents. That's a statistical fact. Okay, so half of your adults grew up like that. They were impacted by that. Then if you look at the statistics of abuse and neglect that was reported throughout the 1980s and 1990s, somewhere between 25% and 40% of all American adults today suffered abuse while they were growing up. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, emotional neglect, and so on. Do you understand? So you have that trauma as well in your adult population and all of the associated psychological aftermath of that they're dealing with, that they're coping with. At least 10% of American adults today grew up in poverty and economic hardship when they were children. And now in adulthood, 25% of adult American women have been victims of rape or attempted rape. And half of all American women have experienced some form of sexual violence. A quarter of all men, American men, have suffered some form of sexual violence in the United States. Now, if you look at the other crime statistics of the past, say 4 decades, then that would leave you with 20% of all Americans who know someone who's been murdered. It's a brutal society. People have grown up with severe and abnormal conditions in that country, all of which are deteriorative to their mental health. And now think about the fact that an adult in America today, say someone who was born in 1990, if they were born in 1990, they're 35 years old now, they likely spent 50,000 hours watching television, 40,000 hours surfing the internet, and up to 20,000 hours playing video games. That's 110,000 hours of passive media consumption, 35% of their entire life. That's more time than they're probably working or studying or even sleeping. It's equivalent to spending every waking moment of an entire decade glued to a screen. I mean, in fact, if you want to be accurate about it, we should just subtract the time that they probably slept. Only count their waking hours. In that case, the average 35-year-old American has literally spent more than half of their life watching television, surfing the internet, or playing video games. Passive consumption of media, roughly 55% of their lives. I mean, no wonder whenever anything even mildly interesting happens in their life, they'll say, wow, it was just like a movie, without fail, because media is literally their frame of reference. Media, popular media, not actual experience. Now combine that with the real trauma issues that they have from growing up and from the violence and the insecurity of their society where they live. They're not processing any of that. They're not processing anything that they've been through. Instead, there's just escapism, avoidance, isolation, desensitization, and this, escape into false versions of reality.
And just to harp on it, American culture is a major culture of escapism. That's why, people, love to be out. People love to be in crowds, drunk, on drugs. Because America creates, because people, are suffering so much trauma. You never know the trauma that people are carrying around, especially the tribes, who've had it the worst. But American culture is a traumatized culture, man. Plus with the enchantments of media, all right, plus with just the pure wickedness, all right, of this society. The children are vulnerable as hell. You can grow into a wicked situation, man, to where as a child you can just be a prey, and a lot of people live a life, of escapism, always trying to be out, always on a date, always, just trying to escape reality and escape their trauma, So I'm gonna play some more.
Simplified versions of reality and so on. The Instagram world, the virtual universe of the internet becomes their unnatural, natural habitat. The average 35-year-old American male has spent roughly 3,000 hours watching pornography. That's equivalent to about 5 months of continuous nonstop viewing. Okay, obviously this has, all of this combined, has devastating cognitive impact. Attention spans evaporate. There's a sort of a constant state of partial attention where people are continuously distracted. They're kind of paying attention and kind of not. It erodes their critical thinking skills, their problem solving skills. It deteriorates both their working memory and their long-term memory. It erodes their emotional regulation. It causes anxiety. It causes depression. It causes volatility. It impairs their social skills, their communication skills, their empathy, their ability to even interact with people face to face properly. You know, it programs you with a kind of behavioral addiction, low impulse control, on and on. Not to mention information overload, where you're accessing far more information than you could ever process. And all this just ends up making your whole perspective of the world an incoherent jumble of random bits of data, random theories and opinions, and so on. And again, remember, all of this cognitive damage is being inflicted on people who most likely.
And going back to it, you know, he spoke about, you know, people are just receiving all this random data and information that they can't even process, you know, because I had a guy the other day, you know, talk for like 20 minutes straight. And it sounded like, you know, he was scrolling through a TikTok thread, you know, or Instagram thread. He was just going from topic to topic. You know, 1 minute he'd be talking about the economy and stock market. The next minute he'd get to talk about Mike Tyson. You know, the next minute he on this topic and on that. It's just a bunch of random topics with no substance, and he really didn't have an understanding of anything. You know, you go to Trump, you know, then you go back to Obama, you know, when he was in the White House, like he was all over the place, and it sounded like, you know, something that you would hear as if you was randomly scrolling TikTok. Well, that's the way a lot of people's minds work. You know, it's like a thread. You know, they just bounce here and there with all this random information, a lot of it misinformation, and they don't have a clue of what's going on. They're just, you know, it's like they're not there. You know, this man has really zombified the masses, man. You know, to where it's just empty random information and no point in how people live. You know, and this is a very destructive culture, man. Nothing about America is normal. That's why you are every day, you know, because this video, you know, plus I always just examine it anyway, but it just make you rethink everything again. You know, you always get to a point to where you gotta step back and rethink everything again, man. Fine comb the madness that was instilled in us in Babylon, man. You know.
Likely are already carrying real life trauma that has never been dealt with from their childhood and from growing up. And okay, if you can afford it, you can go to therapy. Everybody's going to a therapist, right? Well, over 60% of therapists themselves report that they themselves have psychological and emotional disorders. Because of course they do. They come from the same society. You know, they try to rationalize that by calling themselves wounded healers. But very often they wound more than they heal, because there's a very significant number of therapy patients who report abuse of one form or another from their therapists. I mean, ideally, you'd be able to talk to your family. That's what normal people would do. But we've already said that a lot of them, at least 40–50% of them, come from broken homes. And about 30% of all American adults report that they are estranged from their families, from their parents, or from their siblings. The average close friendship in America doesn't last more than 5 years. Forget about romantic relationships, dating relationships, that barely makes it to 2 years. Usually it's only a few months. Even most marriages don't last a decade in the United States. You're people who are adrift. It's a society that's adrift. There's no anchor, there's no port, there's no dock, there's no rudder, there's no map, and there's no destination. That's your society. I mean, look, America, the land of opportunity, right? Think about this. The best and greatest country in the world, the best country that ever existed, liberty, freedom, prosperity, on and on and on. But look at you. It's the land of milk and honey, but everyone is always trying to find a side hustle. Everyone is endlessly talking about being on their grind. You know, motivational speakers are a $1 billion industry. Life coaches, self-help books. Social media is full of inspirational quotes, so-called, on and on, for supposedly people who are living in the best country in the world. While you look like, to everyone else, you look like you're constantly on the verge of a nervous breakdown. You look like you're barely holding it together. Like you need someone to pump you up just to help you get out of bed in the morning. How great can it really be? You flood social media with that stuff. All that you can do it, you know, the you can do it affirmations, all the you will survive this posts. You're beautiful, you're important, you're special, you're a champion. All of that. You flood social media with that. You flood social media with those things. And everyone in the world sees it. You understand? Everyone in the world sees that. And it looks to them like America is staring in the bathroom mirror trying to pull themselves together to face the day. That's what it looks like. You see what I mean? It looks very sad to people outside. You know, people in countries that don't proclaim to be the greatest and most wonderful nation on earth, well, they don't have to hype themselves up just to do normal things. They don't have to hype themselves up just to function in the world. People in Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Latin America, so-called, they don't need motivational speakers. They don't need life coaches. They don't need inspirational Instagram quotes just to be able to stop crying in the office parking lot and go to work. Honestly, it always looks like it's a toss-up with you, whether you're going to post an inspirational, motivational quote on social media or jump off the roof. You know, to the rest of the world, your society looks like a wreck, looks like an emotional wreck. But you see, that's because the rest of the world did not spend a third of their life glued to a screen. The average person in the global south has spent a fraction of the time that Americans have spent consuming media. They also have better relationships with their families. They have better friendships. They have better support networks. You know, they have better ways of coping with trauma. They have better ways of coping with difficulty and so on, even though they're not fortunate enough to live in the best country in the world, you know? Bolivia's bathroom isn't framed with, you know, sticky notes telling it what a winner it is and how it's going to crush it today. Indonesia isn't driving to work listening to Tony Robbins on their headphones. Do you know the awkward, embarrassed silence you would get in Mauritania if you tried to give a confidence-boosting pep talk to a bunch of students? I mean, the only people in the global south, the only people in the Muslim world that this would resonate with at all are the people in those countries who are westernized. Isn't that funny? The more westernized you become, the more Americanized you become, the more you need constant affirmations and constant confidence boosting. Because westernization is alienation from normal human approaches to life, even for Westerners. And see, I'm saying all of this to say, this is why I say that all they do is lie. All they can do is lie, without even meaning to lie. They can't be truthful because they are estranged from the truth. They're estranged from reality. They're estranged from the real world. Their cognitive health is damaged. Their cognitive functions, you know, their thinking skills, their concept of reality. And there's always this smoldering, simmering, mental, psychological, and emotional illness that they're constantly trying to suppress and deny. They're barely holding themselves together, wallahi. Like I said, you flood social media with all your insecurity. You flood social media with all your inadequacy, your low self-esteem continuously. All the, you know, forced displays of bliss, all the beauty filters, all the endless cliched personal development advice. Everyone knows that you're not trying to inspire anyone but yourself. Because your life is so vacuous, your life is so purposeless, your life is so mundane compared to the fake version of life that you spent 100,000 hours absorbing since childhood. And you can't bear to compare the reality of your life with that false version of reality. So you barely are able to even walk out the door without medicating yourself in the morning, medicating yourself either with alcohol or narcotics or prescription drugs, or medicating yourself with social media likes for some vapid quote about living your best life. I mean, think about it. Your society came up with this thing. You tell people, fake it until you make it. Fake it. Fake being capable. Fake being qualified. fake being successful, fake being happy, fake being beautiful with your beauty filters, fake being fit, fake being healthy, fake being motivated, fake being strong, fake being wise, fake being smart, fake being informed. This is what you teach your people. This is what you teach your society. Why? Is it because you used to teach them that if you work hard, you can make it, and everyone found out that that was a lie? So now you tell them that the key to success is to be fake? What kind of culture is this? And again, understand that you're broadcasting this pathology all across the internet to the whole world. The whole world sees it. And now everyone knows that you're faking. Everyone knows that you're frauds. See, I'm telling you, it's impossible to get anything even like the truth from these people, because they themselves are cut off from the truth. It's not their fault. It's not necessarily because they are deliberately lying. They're deliberately dishonest. No, but they are no more capable of telling the truth than I'm capable of speaking Swahili. They can't make any sense even if they want to. The society has paralyzed them. They've been victimized. They've been traumatized. And then they were propagandized. They've been militarized, desensitized, dehumanized, and monetized. And yes, they've been neutralized, and that's a whole lot of lies. So if you're American, I mean, if you're Western generally, but especially if you're American, if you were raised in America, and you went through that 110,000 hours of programming, then you have to understand that in order for you to even start learning about reality, if to even start learning, you have to understand you're not even starting at zero. You're in a hole. You're at less than zero. Because it isn't just that you're ignorant about the world, you have been miseducated about the world. So you have to actually unlearn all of that miseducation. All of those tens of thousands of hours of programming, hundreds of thousands, in fact, because that includes not just your media consumption, but it also includes your schooling, your so-called education. So you have to unlearn all of that indoctrination. You have to unlearn all of that programming just to get you out of that hole, just to get you up to zero. You understand?
Just to get up to zero, and people don't understand how damaged, it is to be raised in Western culture, because convenience, the glitz and glamour of a music video, all right, the ability to go out and party. Okay, people don't understand, the psychological, damage that this devil has done, and I say it even made me reevaluate my perspective on me. Like, yeah, bro, he going in. Okay, and most of us come from the era of 110 hours, of being exposed, to this man passive, what they call passive media, where you're not really learning anything, you're not growing, you're not, being spiritual. Okay, and I'm gonna let them finish, but let's get a few precepts. I want to touch on this too, because he spoke about in other countries, people, because family is a foreign thing in this society. When you look at America, you can have a family of 30 people, but it's 30 individuals. And family can be the absolute worst in America, especially amongst Jake. Okay, especially amongst Jake, man, especially amongst the Southern Kingdom. Okay, now when you go here, okay, a social life is very vital. A healthy social life, being developed and seeing that as a child is very critical for development, man. And I'm thankful. I sit back and be thankful, for the Lord allowing me to see, dealing with on my mama's side of the family, my grandma, how they was real close as a family, and they took that very serious. Her and her cousins and sisters would get together, and they would just laugh and enjoy each other's company. The men would get together, kick it, you see. And there was a thing of and they did it with class, everybody, was pretty much well off, and just to see that dynamic, growing up and being around it, for a time, because I was in different, living circumstances, but I was around there for a time, and their social life and their network and their family plays a major part in the development of people. Okay, and this devil has interrupted that so much. Okay, you go to the feminist movement. All right, the main two, the 1-2 knockout, was that feminist movement, and then that right hook with that crack epidemic, and that pretty much deteriorated the family structure amongst Jake. Okay, but when you go here to Genesis 2:18, it says, "And the Lord power said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him." Okay, and it's not. The scriptures speak about it's not good for a man to be alone, showing you that their social life was created, all right, by Yahweh, by Shem Al Shai, for righteousness' sake, man. Marriage, okay, it's not supposed to be a gender war. We're not supposed to be arguing about who's the prize and who's more important. And I can do this and y'all can't do that. It's not supposed to be a back and forth. Okay, there's supposed to be understood roles and responsibilities that comes with being a husband and a man and a father. All right, there should be understood roles that come with being a wife, a mother, okay, a woman. All right, that they supposed to complement each other, man. Okay, but in this society, it's taught to compare, be in competition. Okay, madness, man. All right, and let's go here. Let's get a few in the apocrypha. Just going into their network, and then we're gonna. He talk about you have to dis. He said you have to dislearn America just to get at zero. America robs you, okay, of you. Like America robs you of creativity. All right, being authentic. Okay, it robs you of skills. Just understanding the earth. America robs you of you. Okay, and you have to unlearn America just to begin. And the scriptures go into that, what you're going to get. But just to touch on that network, it's good to have that good network. When you go to let's get this in Sirach 7:18. Well, yeah, when I watched that, I say, God damn. Yeah, he be breaking America down, bro. It's another one, he be breaking America down. This is Second Ezra 7:18. It said, "Change not a friend for any good, by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of Ophir." Okay, you see. So we were supposed to grow up in an environment where we had a good quality, nourishing, okay, network. I talked to the brother. I got a brother, he helping me doing some home improvements with a house. Younger brother not a brother GMS all in. And I was having a conversation. The brother's skillful. He can pretty much do anything. Dealing with a house. And I'm asking him because he's a young brother. He's not even 30. And I'm asking him, like I said, how did you, who started teaching you this? And he went into his father and his father's brothers. So he had his grandfather, his father, his uncles, and I'm like, I asked him when he started, and he like, shit, I don't even remember, So as long as he can remember, they've been having him, doing things as far as working, learning skills, okay, doing for self, for as long as he remember. He's not even 30 years old, and he's just so potent, with the wisdom of the know-how. But it goes to coming that good. It comes from having that good network. Okay, their brother. I bet you he didn't spend 110 hours like most people did. 110,000 hours on no goddamn video game, the music videos and TV, man. Okay, you see, America robs you of you. It robs you of life. It robs you of skills, life skills, man. Okay, but the lyrics to a whole album. Okay, when it comes to life skills, when it comes to critical thinking, problem solving, okay, being solution oriented, lacking. Extremely underdeveloped. America produces extremely undeveloped men and women. Okay, there's a lot of women that think they got it, extremely underdeveloped. And a lot of men just don't give a damn. All right, but going to it said, change not a friend for any good by no means, neither a faithful brother for the gold of old fear, man. Just show you the importance, okay, of their network. You hardly see people that have old friends. Friends fall out so much now. That's a rare thing. For someone to have, childhood friends. That's a rare thing. Now, we in the truth, and it causes us to separate. But there's still, a few friends, that I'm cool with, from kindergarten. But it's a rare thing. It says, this is Sirach 9:10. It says, forsake not an old friend, for the new is not comparable to him. A new friend is as new wine. When it is old, thou shalt drink it with pleasure. Okay? Day one, but in this society, it's so cutthroat, so grimy, so shiesty, and that toxic, that's trauma, and it's to the point now that toxic is a what you call it, a toxic relationship is now a preference. That's the word. That's a preference now amongst our people. There's a whole thing amongst our people that they want toxic relationships. Show you how damaged our people are. They want a toxic relationship. That's the thing. They want busted windows, busted lips. Okay, prison. You see, shootouts. Like that's what they into. Arguing like this. But they just show you the trauma of America, man. That wound, that incurable wound. You see. So let's go from there, because he spoke about that you have to unlearn, which that's scriptural. Okay, when you go to the book of John, let's pull this up in the blue letter. This is the book of John. All right, this is the book of John, chapter 3. In verse 1, it says, there was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews. The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from the Most High, for no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except the Most High be with thee. Yahushua answered and said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of the Most High. Okay, now he was a ruler, he was high, amongst what you would call the Sanhedrin. But remember, the Sanhedrin was full of it was toxic. You had the Pharisees being over righteous. Okay, trying to make a law within the law. You had the Sadducees. Okay, they, pretty much Hellenized priests. Okay, you had the Herodians, okay, which pretty much they was do boys for Herod. Okay, so this is what Nicodemus had came from, that environment. So Yahushua letting him know, like, look, you got to be born again. You came up in a toxic, okay, polluted situation. So you have to be born again. Which all of us come from these polluted, toxic situations where we have to constantly, all right, be born again. Nothing that old man did was right. He was off on everything. And save you some time of trying to figure out, about the old man. Nothing that nigga did was on point. Okay? And it says, Nicodemus said unto him, how can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahushua answered, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of the water and of the spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of the Most High, man. And being in the water, this truth in the spirit, Rakakodash, the understanding, okay, of this word, unless we be born into the understanding of this word, being a doer of this word, conforming to this word, we're not going to enter into the kingdom, you know? So anything that's American in us, man, the Lord is constantly purging away it. Okay, and for women, that it was more ingrained into the women because the women was weaponized, okay, against their own nation, okay, to where they're naturally combative. You know, it's just in them. They don't even recognize it, like they're naturally combative. Okay, they're naturally masculine. They naturally want to be alpha. Okay, because it was instilled. And then when we're talking about fourth and fifth generation of their way of thinking now, going back from the 60s until now. Okay, so let's go back. Oh yeah, let's get that to Mark. You know, and we've been going into it lately. You know, we'll get it again, and we'll let them cook. You know, this is Mark 2 and 22. It says, "And no man putteth new wine into bottles, else the new wine doth burst the bottles, and the wine is spilled, and the bottles will be marred, but new wine must be put in new bottles." Okay, and that old wine, the doctrine of America, and that old bottle, which is us, okay, has to be completely discarded. And we have to become new bottles, new perspectives, all right, as we receive this new wine, okay, which is this word, okay. America and everything that it taught us has to be completely discarded, man. Anything of the West of this beast system has to be discarded, you know, so we can accept this new wine, because the new wine of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai conflicts with that old wine of Babylon, okay, which cause you to be all over the place, you know. So let's go back to them, let them cook for a little minute longer, let the rest of it play. I think it's about 7 more minutes, you know.
So that then maybe you can actually start to learn about the world that you live in. You have to get to zero first. But not only have they got you in a hole, they've got you to where you don't even know how to climb out of the hole. You don't even have those skills, the climbing skills, because they taught you the most dysfunctional approach to knowledge and the most dysfunctional approach to the processing of information imaginable. You know, it's an approach that basically prevents any sort of understanding. And I think it's calculated. See, this is where you have to understand that there's layers of gaslighting that they do. The complexity of their tactics to mislead you. It's not that straightforward. It's not just that, you know, the gaslighting for them isn't just that they want to make you believe that you're not seeing what you think you're seeing. You know, it's not just trying to tell you that something is other than what it is, and what you can tell it is, what you see it is. That's amateur level, you know, telling you it's day when it's actually night. No, they go deeper than that. They'll actually have you doubting your own reasoning. They'll make you doubt not only what you're seeing, but they'll make you doubt the whole mental process that takes place in your mind that explains to you what you're seeing. They're throwing a monkey wrench in the whole machinery of your common sense. Like if it's night, okay, if it's night and they tell you that it's day, then they'll tell you, well, the sun is actually there. It didn't go away. Technically, the sun's light is still shining on the earth after all. So what does night really even mean, actually? You know, night means the absence of the sun, right? And the sun is never actually absent. So really, there's no such thing as night, actually, if you think about it. See what I mean? This is what they do. This is how they play with words. This is how they manipulate and how they abuse normal, logical sense, just so that they can make everything nonsensical. Because when everything is nonsense, then nothing means anything. There's no right or wrong. Nothing has a definition. Nothing has any meaning. Everything is arbitrary. Everything is subjective. Everything is meaningless. And that's how they want it. That's how they want you to operate in the world. I'm telling you, it's intellectual sadism. They're torturing your mind. And they've done it to you your whole life. And then at the end of that, even intelligence and even sense don't have any meaning or value, which means that anyone and everyone's opinion has equal validity and equal value, which is the same thing as devaluing knowledge, devaluing truth. Please understand me. And that's free speech, so-called. You know, free speech, the way they do it, is just a way to completely drown out reasonable, intelligent, informed, and knowledgeable voices. That's why they support free speech, because the truth is, if you want to learn, the only way to learn is to listen, is to shut your own mouth and listen. There's no other way to do it. Nobody learns by talking. Your own voice never taught you anything. You know, they say talk is cheap. Well, in America, it's free, and they made it free for a reason. And the reason is because they want the noise. They want the noise. They've worked it out so that you can actually censor people even more effectively by letting everyone talk. Now they don't have to silence anyone anymore. They don't have to silence anyone. All you have to do is increase the volume on everyone so that then the voices that you should be listening to can't be heard. Oh, it's brilliant. It's as brilliant as it is diabolical. Now that's the way they can make sure that you never get out of the hole. You see how it works? So my message first is for the Muslims, for our ummah, and for the people in the global south more broadly. The decolonization of your intellect requires that you recognize that non-Muslim Westerners, that Americans, are literally incapable of telling the truth. Even if they want to, they can't do it. You're dealing with the people who are afflicted with debilitating cognitive damage, debilitating emotional disorders, crippling psychological and mental confusion and dysfunction. They'll treat a yes or no question like it's a multiple choice. They'll treat it like it's an essay question. No, you need to push all of that aside. You need to push all of that off the table. You need to hit the mute button on all of that. And as for Westerners, as for Americans, I'm telling you that you need to recognize what your society has done to you. You need to recognize that no society that cares about you would ever do that to you. And you need to realize that your society requires you to pump yourself up, hype yourself up, intravenously inject a constant flow of affirmations and motivations and constant pressure to fight and to struggle and to hustle and to compete and fake it until you make it. Well, that's not a society that wants you to succeed. That's a society that does not facilitate your success. It's a society that makes success unattainable. And then they try to make you feel like it's your fault that you're not a billionaire. They want you to feel like it's your fault and that you're a failure because their system is rigged. They want you to think that it's all your fault that 10% of that population controls 70% of the wealth, and make you think it's your fault that you didn't try hard enough to get into that 10%, as if the 90% of the population are the blameworthy ones and not the inhumanly greedy 10%. And you need to realize that your society has wronged you. They've wronged you very badly. You need to realize that you're not safe, you're not healthy, you're not informed, and you're not happy. And they have deprived you of even the ability to ever become any of those things. All you can do, all you are allowed to do, and all that is actually required of you to do is to fake it. No matter how bad it is, no matter how bad it gets, you're expected to just slap on a big white tooth smiling filter and pretend. They want you to perform America. That's your obligation. Forget about your own happiness. You have to perform America for the world. That whole audience is mortified by this performance, and they've already left the building.
Man. He went in, you know, especially when he said you got to perform America. You know, America is pretty much in performance mode where they're forced to play this role of the happiest people in the world. You know, it's a forced act. You know, it's a forced act. You see? So yeah, man, I was like, he hit on a lot of points, man. You know, and a lot of people are way more damaged than what they think. You know, even like I say with us, you know, we really have to understand that what's been done to us in America is not natural, man. This is the farthest from natural in any aspect of life is not natural, and we've grown up to think that these things are normal, you know. So let's get a few out the comment board. This is the brother Azaria Shalom. How about Shema Shabrakatah? It said GMS in the truth Orlando, Jeremiah 2:23 says, why trimmest thou way to seek love? Therefore hast thou also taught the wicked ones thy ways. All right, and Jake, has trimmed their way in the society to fit in with the West, and they're losing. And there's no one losing like Jake. Going back to the beginning, we've discontinued from our heritage and conformed to Esau, Edom, and the West. All right, and we've lost. Okay, we're nothing like these people. All right, the way that they view marriage, the way that they view family, the way that they view the world, the way that they view food, the way they view, the Most High is with the complete opposite, man. And Jake has tried to force, all right, this relationship in the West, and it has went completely bad for him, man. To the point where our people are more confused than they ever been in existence, man. Okay. When let's get this from the brother GMS version Island Straight Gate. It says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. And this is on the hopeful lip. Okay. Hey, the light is upon us now. And now we see everything, man. Now we see the scam of what America is. Anything that has a mindset of America, whether it's a woman, food, entertainment, whatever it is that's attached to America, it's all a scam. Okay, everything is a scam. All right, that's why you deal with the woman. It's like a program scam. She's programmed to scam. She can't operate outside of their programming, but to be on some scam type shit, and she think it's normal. Jake, you deal with Jake. They think it's normal to be an adulterer, to get close with you, to get close to your woman. And these just certain examples, but that's the normal here. That's just normal day to day. You see, the way family is, the way families at each other and grimy, like these things, okay, are the norm. People think these things are normal. It's not. It's far from it. Okay. Isaiah 60:2, it says, for behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and the gross darkness the people, but the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And this is what we're seeing now as we're walking in the light, because because people wonder, when they see brothers, at a restaurant, which we don't go out nowhere near like we used to, as far as, just going out to eat, even at the camp, brothers kind of keep it simple, but when we used to go out to restaurants, often, at the camp, people would marvel at the unity that we had, at the genuine love that we had for one another. That was a thing that people marveled at, man, because it's uncommon, for us to move like that, to have true brotherly love is uncommon amongst our people. That's not the norm. Okay. Do you see an Israelite man and a woman? The woman is in order. That's not normal in this society. Okay, it's off. You see, a woman in order, that's off. Even a woman that's a piece of in order is off in this society, man. Okay, so let's see. Yep. This is the brother Yahweh, the hopeful elect 3. 2 Ezra 6:27 said, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. Okay, verse 28. And this is what we're seeing now. That wicked way is coming to an end. Because Esau has ran everything to the ground. There's nothing left. There's pretty much not too much left, all right, that people can do in wickedness. They pretty much, everyone is peaking out. And it's going to get worse and worse until, the Lord judges, but we're seeing that everything is peaking out, Like it's getting to a point to where there's nothing much more than wickedness, that can be done. Okay, and so evil is being quenched. All right, but at the same time, as for faith, it shall flourish. All right, and what making our faith flourish is seeing these prophecies come to pass real time. Okay, corruption shall be overcome. All right, and this is amongst the elect. That corruptible way of thinking, that corruptible way of living is being overcome by truth. All right, and righteousness in Yahushua. All right, and the truth which have been so long without fruit shall be declared, man. Because the Lord, he changed the game when he raised up the prophets, okay, to begin to teach and to edify the elect. All right, and the elect, was pulled out of their darkness, man. This broke the cycle, that toxic, degenerate, cycle, that our people are in. It constantly has them going backwards, has been broken by Yahushua, and we'll end it here with this brother, Precept GMS Virgin Island Straight Gate, 1 Peter 2:9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praise of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, man. And that's another thing. It says a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people. See, now we've tapped back into our purpose. We have purpose now. You see, that's one thing that was script from us was a purpose. Okay, but now as we tap back into having a purpose as a people, nah, man, we're the chosen people. Okay, which that comes with responsibility, man. And we tap back into our responsibility as men with Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, that royal priesthood. Okay, so being the king and the priest, see, now we're tapping back into a purpose. Now we're becoming something, man. Okay, we're not imitating the wickedness and the enchantments of Esau, Edom. No, we've becoming what's written in the scriptures now. Okay, and coming back to their purpose. Okay, all right, had elevated us to the point to where our expectation has been elevated by our faith. To where there's nothing that can be given to us in this world, in this age. There's nothing in this age that can be presented to us, okay, in replace of what we got coming, based on what we believe, So that's why this devil doesn't have that leverage that he once had on the hopeful elect as we grow and mature in this thing, because our expectations grow beyond anything of this age, man. We've been brought into the light. All right. So that's the point. Just want to bring that our Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters, will edify. Till next time I say shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba soon, shalom.